Hello, everybody. Today, I just wanted to give you guys a quick presentation on 5 units that you should try in your next Fire Emblem: The Binding Blade playthrough. Fire Emblem: The Binding Blade is a game that has a pretty large cast. It's like really big for a Fire Emblem game, one of the largest casts in the series, and each unit has their own things that make them unique. Now, everybody already knows the good units in Fire Emblem 6. Units like Rutger, Milady, Percival, they receive strong praise from the wider community, and rightfully so, because they are amazing units, obviously. And they're the ones that are known for making FE6 easier. They're making it a more enjoyable experience. And in addition to all the good units, everyone knows that FE6 is a hard game, and its cast is unbalanced, and because of that, everybody also knows the really bad units in the game. So units like Sophia and Wendy, these units that are so bad that it's meme worthy. So like people know the bad units and people know the good units. But my question today is, what about the in between units? These are the units that the community doesn't really talk about because they don't fall under the really good or really bad category. They're just whatever. And so I think there are a lot of units in Binding Blade that get overlooked for a lot of their good qualities. And so I wanted to talk about 5 of these overlooked units that I think maybe you should give a chance in your next playthrough of the game. Now, what you need to know is that this is not a tier list. This is not like this is for a casual playthrough. A lot of tier lists and a lot of like unit rankings operate under the lens of efficiency. And like when you're playing through the game, you're being efficient. And well, I believe that this is like the standard, and it should be the standard for rating a unit's viability within a game. I also can say that 90% of the Fire Emblem community does not play the game in that way, and as such, this playthrough is not assuming efficiency, but rather like you're playing like it's like a normal playthrough, like a casual playthrough of the Binding Blade. That being said, I also don't want to abuse what I call turtle play, which is I'm not gonna play defensive at the start of the map for 50 turns. I'm not gonna arena abuse and say, "Hey, look at this! I arena abused Wendy for like 50 turns and she turned into a juggernaut monster." Like, no, that's stupid and that doesn't help my case. I do allow supports because a couple of the units I'm going to talk about today heavily benefit from supports available to them. Um, but that's as far as I'll go with like quote unquote like turtle play. And like I said, this isn't a tier list. I'm not trying to convince you that like the units I'm going to talk about today are like these paragons of Fire Emblem. Like they're these amazing units that like have been super overlooked for years, and like they need to be used in every playthrough going forward. I think that's a little stupid. What I'm saying is that I'm going to try to provide you, the viewer, with a reason as to why you should potentially give these units another look. So let's start with the first unit, which will be Ogier. Ogier is a mercenary that joins you in Chapter 8. He is level 3, I think, when he joins you, so he's a very low level. Um, he joins you alongside Barth and Wendy. Um, and a lot of people will see Ogier and think like, oh, I already have Deke, so what is the point in me using Ogier? Like, there's no point in me using Ogier because I got Deke, and he's a strong mercenary. That's like the new player mindset. And then like more experienced players will be like, well, I have all of these units that are participating for like that are pushing for a hero crest because like you got Rucker, you got Fur, you got Gonzalez, and you got Deke, and they all want this hero crest. And like an efficiency playthrough, all of these guys are getting it over Ogier. However, I think that Ogier has some benefits that can be overlooked. For one thing, I think his growth rates are decent. He's got 40% strength and 45% speed. Not the greatest, but like by FE6 standards, those aren't bad. 40%, I think, contrary to what people believe, I think is a little shaky. Sometimes those 40% just do not proc. It's the reason that a lot of people don't like units like Lou, who, like, even though he's a good unit, like, he has a 40% magic growth, and sometimes his magic just doesn't pop. Ogier has a 40% strength growth, and the 45% speed growth is, like, decent, but it's not anything, like, super spectacular. Um, his his luck growth I think is also pretty high, and so the main thing about Ogier is that like he has decent growth rates, and by the time he hits the same level as Deke, like around let's say 10-1, he's only a few stat points behind at that point because Deke's bases are really good. Like if we go by their average stats. But what Ogier does have over Deke is speed. Um, and so I think with Deke, I think with Ogier, you're going to get a hero who has high speed and who has high luck. And because of that, I think that Ogier actually makes a pretty good dodge tank. I mean, dodge tanking isn't like the most reliable strategy in the world, but he definitely does it better than Deke. And I think it can allow you to make good use of him. He's also easy to train. 8X is a great chapter for training weak units because it's full of weak enemies that have like that just give a bunch of experience to weak units, and like a lot of people will train certain units there like Lilina. But I think Ogier is a good. You can train him there as well, and obviously the Western Isles are completely full of axe units. It's the main reason people train Fur because she joins at a time where there's a whole bunch of axe enemies. Um, but if you wanted to sub her out for Ogier, you can train Ogier in the Western Isles as well. He does pretty well. He has, I think, D swords at base, so he can use the Armor Slayer. And he's not far off of getting Killing Edge access. Additionally, when he promotes to hero, not only the promo gain's good because this is ME6, but he also gets 1-2 range with hand axes. Now he does get weighed down by axes. He's not the best axe user, but eventually like his speed's going to be high enough to the point where you don't really need axes, or like you don't really need to worry about like being slowed down by axes. And he's going to be able to double things with a hand axe, which is all you really need. And you know, his main weaknesses through all this are his strength and his bulk. And so I always recommend giving him a support to try to patch those up. His support with Lilina is pretty good because it gives him defense, or it gives him defense, and I think it gives him a little bit of attack too. And I think it also gives him like some hit, which is like pretty good. Hit and avoid. So, or no, it doesn't give him avoid. It just gives him hit, which is like good, but like he doesn't necessarily struggle to hit things. I think a couple of his supports give him like half avoid. So if you wanted to support him with like another unit like Larum, or sorry, Lalum, or like Barth, I think he like I know he gets avoid from Lalum. So like if you support him with Lalum, he'll be even better at his avoiding. I'm not trying to say that Ogier is like this amazing unit, but I'm saying that maybe when you're thinking about who to use your second hero crest on, you know, I mean, you've used Deke, why not give Ogier a try? He might surprise you. Next unit is Ray. I put a little here. I wish I had hard mode bonuses because I think they would definitely make him look a lot more appealing. But Ray is a unit I think that struggles to stand out. He is the first dark mage you get, so that does help his case. But he's also like he joins like later than a bunch of your other magic users, and like similar to the hero crest, the guiding ring is like a very prestigious promotion item because you only get a few, and like so many units want them. Like Lou, Lilina, Saul, and Clarine are all like units that are good targets for the guiding ring early on. And so a lot of people just like send Ray to the main side or to the wayside. But he does have some decent things about him. The first is that he starts with a base magic of I think it's 12, and he gets +4 on promo, which is like really good. So if you promoted him straight at level 12, he would have 16 base magic, and obviously like his promo, like his base level means that you can promote him like right away, and not need to like worry about investing into him. It's like if you just want to promote him right away, it's like boom, okay, now you have a level 1 shaman. Or if you want to wait a little bit, the next chapter, 12X, is full of a lot of like weak units similar to 8X, and it can be good for training units. And so Ray can get a lot of value in there by getting trained. You give him a few levels and then you promo. Like I said, he gets 4 magic, but he also gets +3 HP and +2 speed and res, which are both useful. Because Ray, in my opinion, Ray's like biggest thing is that he can use Nosferatu. And he has a higher HP than your other druids. I think that he can live a hit. If someone hits him, he's not gonna instantly die like Ime. He does have like not great defense, but like um that doesn't really matter. And like if you do find he's struggling to like not get one shot, you can always just give him an angelic robe. I think he's a decent candidate for it. And so like what that does is that means that like you won't die in one hit from a lot of different things. And then using Nosferatu, you can heal back up to health. And even though he's not gonna like double things a lot because his speed is kind of low. Even though he won't like really double, his magic is like really high, so it'll weaken them a decent amount, and it allows your other units to come clean up, which is really nice, and it keeps them alive. He can enemy phase with 1-2 range. Um, Stabs on promotion is also pretty cool. Unfortunately, it's only E rank, so like you really don't get much out of it. You get heal, and it does take forever to raise staff rank at FE6. You get like I think you need 50 uses of heal staff in order to go up to D rank, where he can use like Mend and a couple other staffs. And all staffs get the same experience. So I don't think Ray is ever going to get to a point where you can like use higher rank staffs unless you're like heavily grinding his staff rank, which I don't think is okay. Um, for the purposes of this anyway. The other problem with Ray is that like his hit rates are going to be pretty bad because his skill isn't that great, and he's got dark magic, which is pretty inaccurate. Even though it like doesn't weigh him down, which is nice, it's still like really inaccurate. And so like if you're gonna give him a support, you gotta give him one that like fixes his hit rate. And I think Lou is like really nice for him, his brother, because Lou gives him plus 15 hit and avoid, which is really really good for him. Because it allows him to not tank better, and also it allows him to do what I said he can do, but like even better because he's not gonna get hit as much, and he's not gonna miss as much. I just think Nos tanking is like a really fun thing you can do, and Ray I think does it better than Sophia and Nime do. So if you're looking to try Nosferatu tanking, give Ray a shot. Who knows, you might enjoy him. Next up is Garrett. Um, Garrett's issues are well known. His biggest issue is that even on hard mode, he joins with like 11 or 12 speed, which is really bad. Like that is so bad. He might end up getting doubled by some things. And I think like his hopes of doubling are completely out the window unless you give him like resources that are better used on other people. And also his hit rates are not that good. His skill isn't that bad, but like axes have really bad hit rates, especially the steel axe that he joins with. It's so bad. It's got like 50 hit. Um, but he does have benefits that I think can outweigh its cons. The one thing is that berserkers are awesome. They and I'm not just saying that from like a aesthetic point. I'm saying that as in like the class is really good. The main thing about them that I really like for Garrett is the crit rate. The plus 30 crit rate is really nice for berserkers, and if you give him a killer axe, it's like around 60-70 crit rate, which is really good. But also the terrain shenanigans that he can do are also really nice. For example, in his joining chapter, chapter 15, he can get up on the peaks and completely like dominate the left side of the map because he's going to be on the peak getting plus 40 avoid and 2 defense. And all the enemies are like lance enemies, like the wyverns and like the cavaliers. So they're just not gonna be able to hit him, and he's able to just like completely take out that side of the map by himself if he's on a peak. Also, if you go to Ilya, he does really well there. Where he can, let's give you a few examples. In chapter 17, Ilya on the map with the choke point, the land bridge that forms across the water. He can potentially open it up for you really well by walking on the water and taking out an enemy or two from there, allowing your units to push through much quicker. Or in chapter 18, Ilya, he can go over the river to the right to help with defending, getting to the village in Martel's map. Or in chapter 19, Ilya, with the fog, if you're worried about Falconite reinforcements, he handles them very well by going on the peaks. And also being an axe unit means they're not going to be able to hit him very well. This is a lot of fun thing. Also, the mountains in chapter 21, you can put him on the peaks, and he will not be able to. The wyverns won't be able to hit him, which is really nice. And you may be like saying to yourself, like, this all sounds great, But like I can do this with Gonzalez, and it is true that Gonzalez can do the same thing. Um, but I did run the averages. If you look at a 15-1 Gonzalez from A route versus base hard mode Garrett, Garrett is winning in every stat average except for speed and defense. And Gonzalez is always going to be faster than Garrett. Gonzalez is going to double. But the thing about Garrett is that he can do what Gonzalez does with no investment. You have no hero crest required because, as I mentioned earlier, the hero crest is very prestigious. And so a lot of units want to compete for that hero crest. And using Gonzalez would mean you have to dedicate a hero crest to him, where with Garrett, you don't have to dedicate anything to him. He just comes out of the box as a berserker and ready to go. Just please, for the love of God, replace his Steel Axe. He sucks with it. Give him an iron or a killer axe, and you're going to see so much improvement from it. Next up is Douglas. Douglas is going to be a short one. He has great HP, strength, and defense. Like they're good base. His speed is low and his skill isn't great, but the speed doesn't matter because if enemies are doing 0 damage to you, then what does it matter if they're doubling you? Like Douglas is gonna get doubled. That's like he's a general. They just have that just happens to them, but he is going. His defense is so high and that he's gonna end up taking no damage. And where this is really good is in Sakai, because the nomads in Sakai, the regular nomads, are going to do 0 damage to him, as are Myrmidons. They're all going to do 0 damage to Douglas, and he can just sit there and act as basically a traffic blocker with a javelin or a hand axe, but like they're not going to be very accurate. Just soaking up damage from the nomads because they don't do anything to him. And even like the nomad troopers and like sword masters, they do very little to him. And he's one of the only people that can like really safely take them out, like swordmasters especially. Just don't put him in range of mages or armor slayers. Like he has weaknesses. Every unit has weaknesses. Just don't be stupid. Don't put him in range of mages or armor slayers, and you'll be fine. Like he'll be fine. He's not gonna die. He has so much defense and HP that it's really hard to get him killed unless you're kind of stupid. And he just acts as basically a great safety net for Sakai, which is really nice because that route is really painful. And speaking of Sakai, the last unit I want to talk about today is Dan. Another short one. Dan joins you really late in. I think he joins you in either 20x or 21, but either way, his main benefit is that he has pretty good bases, to the point where he can one round Wyvern Riders in chapter 21 if he's using a silver bow, and if you give him a simple speed wing, which I know is a highly contested item, but if you give him a speed wing, he can one round the Wyvern Lords in chapter 21 by using the silver bow, which is really nice because that chapter is full of Wyvern Riders and Wyvern Lords. And if you don't have a bow user that you trained, or if like you got like some stat screwed bow users, Dan can just come in pretty much basically at base and pick up the slack for them, which is really nice. And also, like, he joins at A-rank bows, so he's one rank off of the Muligir, which means he also can have utility killing dragons in the final map, which is really nice. And with that, I want to thank you for watching. I really love Fire Emblem 6, The Binding Blade. It's one of my favorite Fire Emblem games, and I love experimenting with all the units. And so I hope I was able to maybe sway your opinions on some of these characters. Like I said, I'm not trying to convince you that they're amazing or even good in some of their cases, like Ogier. But what I wanted to do was I hope I was able to convince you to give them another try. And if I succeeded, great. If not, well, I'm sorry. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.